The release of Xwing in 1993 was part of a new era for LucasArts. After sitting on the sidelines through most of the 1980s, the studio was finally given the opportunity to develop a Star Wars game. They immediately set about creating the one game everyone wanted, an Xwing simulator. Developed by Lawrence Holland, Xwing was based on flight sims like Secret Weapons of the Luftwaffe, which was appropriate given Star Wars' basis in World War II aerial combat. Among the ships available to play were the X-Wing, Y-Wing, and A-Wing, with a story based loosely on the movies. Unlike other Star Wars flight sims like Rogue Squadron, X-Wing was much more of a sim, and included a wide variety of energy management and targeting options. It was also hard. Really hard. The grand finale, naturally, was to run down a flat-shaded trench to destroy the Death Star. And though it didn't quite live up to the movies, its very presence was a dream come true for Star Wars fans. Ultimately, though, X-Wing succeeded because it struck the right balance between realism and fun, staying true to its roots while offering a reasonably deep flight experience. The success of X-Wing set the stage for the development of a sequel in 1994, this time from the perspective of the Empire. TIE Fighter featured better graphics and smarter controls, as well as cameos by popular characters from the expanded universe, like Grand Admiral Thrawn. What it lacked in a Death Star trench run, it more than made up for in outrageously overpowered craft like the TIE Fighter Defender and the Missile Boat, the latter of which could easily destroy a Rebel cruiser all by itself. With its raft of enhancements, unique perspective, and wide array of ships, TIE Fighter would prove to be even more popular than X-Wing. But there was still one thing missing: multiplayer. That changed in 1997 with the release of X-Wing vs. TIE Fighter. Sporting an all-new engine, it was the first game in the series to feature online multiplayer via a variety of competitive and cooperative missions. Unfortunately, X-Wing vs. TIE Fighter would prove to be well ahead of its time, as many dial-up modems were ill-equipped to handle 8-player battles with large number of ships. It was also criticized by many for its lack of a story campaign, which wouldn't be rectified until LucasArts introduced an expansion pack a year later. Though it's remembered more fondly now, at the time, X-Wing vs. TIE Fighter struggled to fulfill the lofty expectations put upon it, and was ultimately considered a disappointment by many. LucasArts would take one more shot at the space combat genre with X-Wing Alliance. It brought the franchise's timeline up to the Battle of Endor, culminating in a then impressive flight through the Death Star. It was also the first in the series to allow players to fly the Millennium Falcon, a much requested feature by fans. Grander than any other X-Wing game before it, it proved to be an appropriate finale for the classic series. But for the fans of the series, X-Wing Alliance proved to be bittersweet, as it was the last in the series. Worse, it ended on a cliffhanger that remains unresolved to this day. Even after more than 15 years, though, the X-Wing series remains beloved by many Star Wars fans, and many continue to pine for its return. It's a series that will ultimately be remembered for its sharp but fun flight mechanics, strong story, and its grand scope, which resulted in some of the best Star Wars games ever made. We may never see its like again, but with the X-Wing always, the Force will be. To hear us talking about our favorite video games, keep reading and watching usgamer.net.